Hello everyone, before I start I want to say one very important thing. In the beginning I want to name this video as the most harmful feature among all Souls games. But then after a while I thought a title like that was kinda meh. So I will name this video as it is right now. Hope you will like it. Okay, let's start with Demon Souls. The most harmful feature in Demon Souls is Soul Form. I know many people for some reason justify this dumb mechanic, but this mechanic just has no justifying. In case someone doesn't know, let me explain what this mechanic does. The second you die in a human form, you will lose half of your max health, and in order to restore it, you either need to kill a boss of this location, or use some random stones that restores your humanity. And when you die in a human body, your max health will be cut in half. Bosses and mobs will do 25% more damage to you, and a few red phantoms will appear, which can be a huge pain in the ass. Okay, fuck it. You just like literally everyone, as soon as you kill a boss, unalive yourself in Nexus, and because of that, no matter how many times you die, bosses and mobs won't do extra damage to you, but your health still will be cut in half. And in order to somehow give yourself extra max health, you need to equip a specific ring. And just like in Dark Souls 1, you have only 2 slots for rings. And realistically saying, average melee fighter ring slots in this game is this ring plus local Havel's ring, which is not really cool. If you want to equip other ring, prepare to heal each time someone farts at your direction, because let's say how it is, running around with half of your max health is a very dumb idea, especially in locations like 5, 2 or 4, 3. Soul Form added nothing, like nothing good in this game. Each time you are in a human form, you are afraid of everything, simply because if you die, you will be under a shitload of debuffs, which is a very bad thing. So I will add Soul Form on this list. Dark Souls 1. I know many people might not agree with me, but the most harmful thing in Dark Souls 1 are a huge shields plus Silver Knight shield. Why? Well, simple answer. In Dark Souls 1, a heavy shield and Silver Knight shield at plus 5 allows you to just face tank absolutely every single boss besides Gwyn. I am not joking. Bosses like Manus, Artorias, Ornn, Smigma, and many more bosses can't do anything if you play as a knight with a huge shield, simply because they just physically can't break your shield. Yes, in Dark Souls 2 and in Dark Souls 3, there also are huge shields, but in both of these games, shields won't allow you to face tank everything on your way, simply because bosses can break your shields very easy. The best example of this is Dark Souls 2. In Dark Souls 2, pretty much every single late game boss, and not only boss, can just break your shield in 2 seconds, while in Dark Souls 1, besides Gwyn, there is not even a single boss that can do anything against a huge shield with high stability. You might say that the most harmful feature of Dark Souls 1 is magic. Yes, but can you name me at least one Hidetaka's game in which magic doesn't allow you to wipe the floor with bosses? Even in Dark Souls 3, magic is super duper OP, especially against bosses like King No Name, Dancer and Pontiff. Dear god, what can you do to them if you play as a mage? It's just not funny. In Dark Souls 1, for many people, Manus was super duper hard boss who whooped the shit out of them over and over, but for me, I easily killed him on my second attempt, while standing still and blocking his entire wombo combo. And not only his wombo combo, also his magic. Most people use this item in order to avoid or survive his magic, but me, I just take shield, block, and that's it. He can't do anything. Yes, it takes plus minus big amount of time to kill boss, but it won't deny the fact that with a huge shield, you can easily face tank everything in this game. Dark Souls 2. I know many people don't talk about it, but the most harmful feature of Dark Souls 2 is level up. And no, I am not joking even for a bit. Let me explain. In case you didn't pay attention or realize that or knew about that, but I will tell you one very funny, not really thing. In Dark Souls 2, level up is much cheaper than in other Dark games. I don't know if I will be able to find exact numbers, but just know the fact in Dark Souls 2 per location, you can level up at least 7 or 8 level without a problem. Why is this a problem? Well, let me explain. On my last playthrough, I killed only 2 Lord Soul owners, and when I fought Mitha, I was level 80. Again, I, while barely finishing mid-game, was already powerful enough to fight late-game bosses without the smallest problem. Just so you know, with level 80, I finished both Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, while in Dark Souls 2, I didn't even reach Old Iron King, just yikes. And this is a huge balance problem because when you fight bosses in Dark Souls 2, you most of the time are way the fuck over level than them. I will give you the best example as I can. Let's take Ornn and Smoke from Dark Souls 1 because they are final mid-game boss, and let's take Old Iron King because as far as I know, for most people he's the final Lord Soul owner. Let's look at their stats. Smigma and Super Ornn combined have 5626 health, while Old Iron King has 6k health, and they do plus minus equal amount of damage. You might thought Old Iron King has a reasonable amount of health, which is plus minus comparable to Ornn and Smigma. Yes, but here is a thing. Against Ornn and Smoke, you can be well plus minus 40-45 level, while against Iron King, you can be level 100. And I am not even joking. Dark Souls 2 over levels you just stupidly fast, and because of that, most bosses feel like a joke. Not because they have a poor moveset, but simply because you are well the fuck over level for them. Fighting Iron King at level 100 is equivalent of fighting Pontiff in Dark Souls 3, while you are level 60. Big fucking whoop. I hope I don't have to explain what you would do to Pontiff or to Iron Golem at level 60. You might thought in this game there is ADP, which you should level up no matter what, or you will have no iframes, aka bad roll. Yes, but A, even with base ADP, you can dodge absolutely every single boss hit if you have good reaction time, and B, in order to get normal dodges, you need to level up ADP at 25 or 30, which is not a problem at all. Level up in Dark Souls 2 is just way too cheap, and because of that I will put level up cost on this list from Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne. I know not many people either justify or for some reason praise this mechanic, but weak points in Bloodborne is extremely harmful feature. Why? Well, let me explain. Let's take for example Levan Reborn. His weak points are his legs, and if you hit them over and over, you might stun him for a while, which allows you to hit him without him being able to punish you. You might thought it's a good thing because you got rewarded for finding his weak point, or that the boss is more interesting to kill that way, and no. If you have a strong and fast weapon such as for example Cleaver, you can hit his legs one by one over and over, and he won't be able to even move. I am not joking at all, it's 100% true. The other best examples of that are Parl, who won't even be able to move if you hit his legs over and over, and of course Ludwig, who you can just unlock to death. I am not joking, if you hit his belly over and over, you can just unlock him to death and he won't even be able to move. In Bloodborne, every single non-human boss has a G-spot, and if you keep hitting this spot over and over, you can just bully or straight up stunlock every single boss. For instance, Amygdala, arms and his head, Ebrietas, tentacle and head, Cleric Beast, Amelia and Phase 1 Lawrence, their arms, and many more. Fuck it, even human bosses who you can just hit in their G-spot can be easy cheesed. The best example of this are Maria and Father Gascoigne. Against Gascoigne, if you got a box that his daughter will give you, he's fucked. Against Maria, Yeah, and every single hunter besides German, you can use the Beast Roar and just unlock them to death. Like this feature or no, it's impossible to deny that stunlocking a boss while hitting them in a very obvious G-spot is a very bad feature. Dark Souls 3 Poise. Well, yeah, I don't think that anyone is surprised with this one. In Dark Souls 3, Poise is just broken. Both bosses and you can stagger each other to death, simply because there is no poise in this game. I will give you a few very quick examples. First, let's talk about a player. In this video, dude used every single poise boosting thing in this game. Havel armor, Yorm's shield, Artorias ring, and he still has zero real poise. You don't understand what's the problem? Well, in 2 words, it's just not fun to get staggered to death by 2 homeless with broken swords, while you have the tankiest armor in this game. I am 100% sure that any of you had a moment in which either boss or some random basic mob just staggered you to death, without you being able to even move. Now about bosses. In Dark Souls 3, because of broken poise, if you play with fast weapons, you can straight up stagger basic mobs to death without them being able to do anything. And not only basic mobs, a few bosses are also a victim of that. The best example of this is Sister Feet, against whom I have a full video how to stagger her to death. Unless boss has stagger immune, fast weapon just fucks them up. You think that's all? Nope. In case bosses have stagger immune, there are huge bunkers that allow you to poise break and repost any boss with just 2 heavy hits. The best example of this are Lorian and Soul of Cinder. Poor Cinder gets his poise broken each time you hit him with a huge weapon. Unless a humanoid boss has a stagger and poise break immunity, they are fucked. Also, correct me if I am wrong, but isn't Guile the only boss in this game who you can't stagger and poise break 24/7? And also, among all non-humanoid bosses, the only boss against whom you can't abuse a poise break are Midir, Aldrich, and Old Demon King. You might say negative poise in Dark Souls 3 and weak poise in Bloodborne are the same thing. Well, first of all, yes, and secondly, well, there is a small difference, because in Bloodborne you have to find this very obvious G-spot, while in Dark Souls 3, both you and bosses by default have fuck up poise. So yeah, let's move to Sekiro. In the beginning I want to joke about Sekiro, because how can you have a harmful feature when you have a zero feature that has a smallest connection to your damage or stats? But after thinking for a while, I will add empowered red candy. Why? Well, simple answer. This candy allows you to wipe the floor with absolutely every single boss in less than a minute. Let me explain quickly what this candy does. It increases your damage very hard, which allows you to, for example, kill phase 2 inner Ishin in less than 30 fucking seconds. This candy is just nuts. Not only this candy gives you insane amount of damage boost, it has no downside. Yes, your health and posture bar is cut in half, but A, your posture bar in this game won't break as long as you perfect parry bosses and basic mobs hits, and B, in this game it just does not matter how much health you have, because you will still get one-shot by every single boss. Let me tell you one very funny thing. I have a video in which I am tryharding Old Father on average for 3 min, and there were attempts in which I fought him for 8 minutes straight. And with this candy, I killed Inner Father, who is way the fuck harder and more annoying than Old Father, in less than a min. No issue here, no, not at all. This candy is perfectly balanced. And this is without mentioning Mortal Draw plus this red candy. Besides Demon of Hate, every single boss is fucked if you hit them with Mortal Draw if you consume the Super Sugar red candy. Dear God, what can you do to bosses in this game? It's not even funny. So yeah, left fire list candy allows you to just run down bosses in less than a minute without even the smallest problem, is the main reason why I put this candy on this list. And finally, Elden Ring. Well, you know the answer, I know the answer, even Elden Ring diehard fanboys know the answer of that. It's open world. I have a shitload of videos in which I explain why open world of Elden Ring is giga harmful to this game's balance, so I will add a small part of it in this video. Again, I have multiple videos about Elden Ring's open world, and I don't want to repeat everything for the 6th time in a row. In Elden Ring, there is absolutely no balance. You either are always way too weak or way too strong. I will give you the best example as I can. On my first playthrough, as soon as I killed Margit, I straight up went for Godric, and as you can guess it, I got wrecked. I suffered on him for a while, and then I decided to leave him for a while. After killing a bunch of punching bug bosses and updating my weapon as hard as I could, I went back to him and I ran him down in less than a minute. And he's not the only example. I am 100% sure that any of you had a moment in which you meet a remembrance boss or any other boss and he absolutely demolished you. You went on the other side of the map for a while, and when you came back, you accidentally two-shotted him. Soul's formula just does not work in open world game. You always are either way too OP or way too under level. There is no golden middle, and this is not cool at all. The situation with weapon is no better. In base Elden Ring, you either use bleed and super duper ashes of war that allows you to just finger butthole any boss in this game, or you take a regular weapon and suck a dick 24/7. While in DLC you either take bleed and huge ultra great sword weapon and dominate bosses, or you take a regular weapon and suck a dick 24/7. So yeah, open world of Elden Ring is just a huge middle finger towards any balance. If you like my video, press like and sub button. With this I will say bye bye to you and I will see you next time.